Raja, I am super excited that you are here in the room with us to share your beautiful message. I'm going to let you go first, friend, because you have a competition coming up today. So if you could go ahead and share that, friend, I'm going to go ahead and mute down.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, Amber, for inviting me to your group. When I go up on stage, I actually like introducers to call me the kickboxing opera singer, cancer scientist from Philadelphia who can't talk right. And I tell you that because I've lived with a lifelong stutter, and it's only in recent years that I really come to grips with it and really face that fear of like being able to speak in front of people and in front of live audiences or live interviews. So I came up with a 5-step process that help you to actually create that black belt mind shift in other areas of your life. So not just your life, but your business and your relationships. So Amber, if I can get a chance, can I share my screen?
Yes, absolutely. I will go ahead and give you the hostess controls. That would be just fine.
Fantastic. And we're going to go through in a very high level, a short 15 to 20 minutes about how you can start to change your life by using this 5-step process. Now, the reason why I'm qualified to talk about this, next year I hit 40 years in the martial arts. I've been inducted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame, actually multiple ones, and I'm a 6th-degree master black belt. I'm in a martial arts movie, and the sequel is coming out next year. I'm in a comic book series, and I have seen how people change from a white belt mind lock to a black belt mind shift as they attain black belt status. And you may not realize this. Every single stripe that you get on your black belt, you get a 1st-degree black belt after about 5 years. Then 2 more years, you might get your second degree, 3 more years, your 3rd degree. Each stripe is another white belt that you can restart and start your whole growth journey all over again. Because somebody thinks that you reach black belt and you're done your journey. No, that is the start of your journey. And that's something that I had to learn along the way as well. So, show of hands, raise your hand if you've ever been challenged with something in your life that you thought, maybe, I don't know if I can do it. Okay, great. So, let me share my screen and show you this simple 5-step process because I had to go through a lot of pivots in my life, and this culminated in real life story of me just shortly a couple of years ago, where I gave a huge presentation through at my work, and I did all the work for about 6 months. And me and my partner, I've been a cancer scientist over 25 years. My partner presented it because I was too shy and too ashamed of my speech problem that I let her do the presentation. Well, even though half the slides were mine in that slide deck, my name was not on the first slide. So it made it look as if I had not done most of the work. And in fact, we had done equally half. So to add insult to injury, I injured both of my like rotator cuffs. I was in physical therapy for a year, and she got the promotion and I didn't. So this is something that happens with people who are marginalized because of their speech disfluencies. And I don't want that to happen to anybody else. So I forgive her, but I don't forget. And I decided I'm going to make a pivot that day. And that's where we start our journey, is that if you want to make a change, you have to make a decision to change. You have to decide. Now, raise your hand if you know what to do, but you don't do what you know. Raise your hand. You know exactly what to do, but sometimes you don't do what you know. But that's because we are hesitating on making a decision. We're not invested in our process. So the first step towards gaining that success and creating that black belt mind shift is that you have to decide to change. So type in the chat right now, or just write down in a paper for you, what is a decision that you're holding off on? And I'm going to go through this list with you, and like I don't have to show this the entire time. But we're going to go from white belt, orange belt, green belt, blue belt, and then to black belt. So I'm going to stop my screen share because I want us all to be interactive here. And because you're going to be filling in and doing the work as we do it live. So type in the comments or just raise your hand and say, what's one decision that you're holding off on? Is there anything that you're hesitating on? Who's going to be brave and be the first one to answer? Go ahead, Monica.
Brave is my word this year. So I'm going to be brave and be first. Okay, here we go. So what I've been holding off on this month is actually doing weekly in-person presentations for my business.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Who else? What's another a decision? Somebody else. And we have time for one more. David.
I am working on why I'm working for the company that I'm working on, and I'm just like have a hard time getting all the words put down. It's in rough draft, but it's sometimes hard to sort it all out.
Right. So you're working on the copy.
Flow, yeah, the flow.
Gotcha. Okay. Great. So, all right. Thank you so much for sharing that, David. So now that we've made a decision to change, I decided that because I wanted to face my fear of speaking and not get marginalized and held back anymore, because when you work in big pharma, you're only as good as your last presentation, because that's what the VP see. They say, all right, they don't see you working in the lab grinding it out. They don't see you working late at night. They don't see you like working on the weekend bringing out the data. So once I decided to change, how am I going to take that next step? Now, as a white belt, we made a decision to change. So next step is orange belt. We're going to help in an introverted way. Write that down. So step one is a white belt. You're going to make a decision to change. Step two is an orange belt. You're going to help in an introverted way. Now remember, this is designed for people who are introverted, right? Or maybe a little bit shy. And so guess what? How do you help in an introverted way to show that you're a leader? What you do is, suppose you have a luncheon, holiday, like at this time of year, a lot of people are organizing holiday luncheons for their teams, right? Why don't you offer to, hey, why don't I write the copy for that? Why don't I send out the emails? Why don't I see who has confirmed and who has not confirmed? So now, without being in front of the stage and having everybody look at you, you can now kind of help behind the scenes. See how we're doing that? Can you think of any other ways that you can help in an introverted way? And this is where we interact again. So first two people get to share their thoughts. Who wants to go first this time? How can you help in an introverted way on something you're doing currently, whether at your work, your church, your family? Is there anything, if you have children, helping out with their sports teams or their clubs or activities? Any thoughts? I have examples, but I would love to hear from you.
I think you kind of said it, where you're just kind of helping in the background versus being up on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So
what precisely could you help with?
Kids sports teams. I mean, you could offer to bring the water or the Gatorade or whatever.
Okay,
Or
perfect. Excellent. Anybody else?
Get involved with your church. Don't just be a spectator.
Yeah, get involved. Guess what? Simple thing you can do is become an usher, hand out programs. Done. You don't have to talk. You just stand there. There you go. Give them a smile. Now you're helping. Now you're helping in an introverted way. Suppose that somebody has has a database at work that needs compiling, but they don't know what to do. They can't find all the files. They can't find all the resources. They can't find which tab to look at. You can help in an introverted way by helping to organize that. Because right now at Q4, a lot of companies are trying to finish up. What did we do all year? Let's organize it all, put and simplify it down into one slide in a PowerPoint slide deck. You can help in an introverted way by doing that. So now, once you start doing this several times, we're going to go to green belt, step 3. And as a green belt, write this down. You become a RR. Who wants to guess what RR means? As a green belt, you want to become an RR.
Give us a hint.
Resource.
Number 1, reliable.
Resource.
Reliable resource. You got it. right? Ding, ding. You're going to ring the victory bell. You got it. And so once you start helping multiple times in an introverted way, don't people start to look at you a little bit differently? Now they have confidence in you. Now they know that when you say you do something, you're going to get it done. So it's not just about doing what you say. It's about saying what you did. Think about that again. It's not about doing what you say. It's about saying what you did. This comes from the martial arts. We don't talk about going to the next belt. We don't talk about I'm going to get my next belt in a couple of years. We talk about what we are and what we did, because actuality precedes potentiality, right? So now in the human psyche, when you start thinking about the perception of who you are versus who you're going to be, there's a lot of faith that has to go into who you're going to be, and we don't have any proof yet. But we got 100% proof into who you are now. So when you're trying to go onto a sales call and say, you know what, we can solve this problem. We got the potion pill or product that's going to help change your life. Well, what proof do you have? Don't talk about potentiality. Talk about actuality. Talk about what you've already done and show how that has changed and transformed your life. So now when I go into the company as a reliable resource, my boss is saying, you know what, Roger can do that because he's stepped up, he's offered, he's volunteered to help other teams, and he's completed those projects. Not only that, he's completed them on time, under the budget, and even saved us time. So by continually doing these small things, guess what happens here?
You show reliability.
Go back to martial arts. We're doing what? We are building our confidence, right, in ourselves. And we are building proof. We're building a list of accomplishments that we can stack on. And now, let me ask you something. Is failure a bad thing?
No.
No? Okay. What's good about failure? Somebody tell me, what's a good thing about failure?
Failure means you have to learn from your mistakes.
That's right.
The learning
That's right.
experience.
You get another like ring of the victory bell, Mr. Santa. And think about this. Failure is the start of every journey. If we were afraid to fail, we wouldn't learn to walk when we were children. If we were afraid to fail, we wouldn't learn to ride a bike because we'd be too afraid to fall off. We'd be too afraid to swim because we might drown. We might be too afraid to fly because we think the plane's going to fall. You know, I was too afraid to speak because I thought that everybody would judge me and I'd be so embarrassed and I'd die of death. You know, like there are definitely real fears out there, and that's okay. But I'm going to redefine that for you. Some people like define fear as false evidence appearing real. I call it something else. I call it face everything and rise. Put that in the chat. Fear is face everything and rise. Because I faced my fear recently. And only now can I get to the point where I can say, I can speak in front of any audience, talk about any topic, as long as I want. I just gave a 2-hour talk to my company last month to like 125 plus people, talking about speaker confidence. You know, the guy that can't talk right. So now that I've gained the confidence to speak and share my knowledge, I become that reliable resource, and it starts to do something funny. People start to change their BS. Now, what does BS stand for? Take a guess. Amber.
Belief system.
Oh, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yes, Amber. Congratulations. You get the victory bell. Awesome. So what happens right now is this. People don't believe what you say. They emulate what you do. Right? They don't believe what you say. They emulate what you do. So remember how I went back, and not too long ago, I talked about don't do what you say what you did. Right? Who are you in actuality and not in potentiality? Because then you have confidence over that. You know exactly who you are, and you can talk about that forever and ever. So now that I finally faced my fear and I can speak with confidence about who I am today, right now, I know what I did. And that now expands my belief system and myself. And guess what happens? Like a rock thrown in a pond, it creates waves, doesn't it? So what happens when you believe in yourself? other people believe in you too, right? Is it true that every champion was a champion in their own mind first before everybody else believed it? Muhammad Ali used to say it all the time before he was a world champ. I'm the champ. I'm the champ. I'm the king of the world. He believed it first. He knew it. And then he manifested it. So go back to the secret and about the law of attraction. You attract the people that you are, that you become. So when you manifest and you say to yourself, you know what? I expanded my belief system in myself. So now we go from white belt, orange belt, green belt to blue belt. We expand our belief system. And when you expand your own belief system, those waves that you created go across the pond and you don't know where they end. They go on to infinity because now you're affecting other people that you can't even see. That's why I love music. So when I'm on stage now and I'm singing, by the way, I'm a classically trained opera singer, once again, so I could hide my stuttering, because when you sing, you don't stutter. So I can sing pretty easily at will, and and you hear the change in my voice. So I don't have to talk like this to make you listen to me. I could do that, but I think that gets in the way of us connecting. I'm not trying to assert authority. I'm trying to earn respect as I share my knowledge and create value. And when you get on sales call with your teams or clients that you're trying to connect with you, ask yourself, are you trying to assert authority? Are you trying to gain trust? Or are you trying to build a connection for the future? I try to build connections. That's why every person that's come on my show, they end up becoming a future JV partner, right? A joint venture partner, because then we're going to partner up in the future some way. I want all of us to become multi 7-figure earners, multi 8-figure earners, because not because I'm better than anybody, but because I'm just like you. I struggle every day. I go out every single day to work or to get on stage or to get on somebody's podcast or show and know that I'm going to fail every single day, every single hour at speaking fluently. So I know that going forward. So I just flipped the script on it. I flipped my fear to my superpower. I tell everybody now, you know what? God gave me this handicap, so I probably don't talk too much, right? So that gives me the opportunity and the power to say, you know what? Doesn't bother me anymore. It shouldn't bother you. Let's move on. And by flipping that script and recoding my brain, I, once again, expanded that belief system. And then we're going to get to the last step here. As a black belt, can someone like refresh me again? We went from white belt, orange belt, green belt to blue belt. What were those steps? So as a white belt, we did what? Somebody just call it out.
Make a decision.
White belt, decide to change. Good. Orange belt, what's the next step? Help in a
Introverted way.
Introverted way. Beautiful. Green belt, become a
Reliable resource.
reliable resource. Beautiful. And blue belt, you expand your
Belief system.
belief system. And as a black belt now, see how simple these steps are? And they're so profound because they work. I've been teaching martial arts now for almost 40 years. And I'm telling you, every single child, teenager, adult, or senior that has come through my school or my teacher's school that I've helped to teach has gone through this process of building up their belief system, becoming you have to earn your white belt first in my school. So you get your uniform, but you don't get your white belt until you actually complete a week of classes. That's to make you feel like you've earned something. Because until you actually get that first belt, you haven't really started. You're on a trial period. So it's sort of like a two-way interview. You're deciding if you want to work with me, and I'm deciding, do I want to work with you as well? And I've turned some students away who had the wrong attitude. Are you doing that with your clients? Or do you just want to, like a machine gun, just spray and ask everybody? Are you asking them, does this interest you? Do you want to do more with your life? You seem like a sharp person. Would you like to do more? Okay. Do you ever feel undervalued? Do you want to do more with your life? Ask them. And if they tell you, no, I'm comfortable, I'm fine where I am, I say, really? Okay. So at this time, let's look at that last step now. As a black belt. As a black belt, you're going to become a role model. And you're going to lead by GB. What does GB stand for? Somebody call it out. You're going to lead by.
Good balance.
That's a good one. Not quite it. Anybody else?
Good behavior.
Good behavior. Oh, I like that. That's a good one. We're getting closer. So in this season, there is a time of giving. Hint. You're going to lead by GB.
Back.
I think
Giving
Santa said it
benefit.
first, and then John said it second. Giving back. Yes, there you go. Woohoo! Congratulations. You've been a great audience because you got the right answer. You will give back. Because every leader is not a leader until you give back. Did you actually help someone else outside yourself? Because I remember growing up and like thinking a leader is the person that has the most money or the most title or the most stripes on their belt, or they have the most people following them on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. That's not a leader. That is one KPI of success. That's a key performance indicator. That's one KPI of success, but it's not the ultimate one. For me, what I've seen is that the people that lead are the ones that people want to follow. Ask yourself, if you didn't have the title, the money, or your position or status where you are, who, if you didn't call them for a month, who would get in touch with you and say, hey, where are you? I missed you. Why would people call you? Because if you're not giving back, if you're not raising and elevating people around you, you're not yet a leader. You're still a success, but you're not the leader that you could be. Because every leader is a role model. Now, in our karate school, we talk about we talk about a SWAT team, a special winning attitude team, right? And the children that have the right attitude, they show respect, they come in on time every day, they're always giving their best in class all the time. They get a special patch that they can put on their a uniform. They get to be part of the SWAT team, and it's such a cool small thing, and yet it changes the way that they believe in themselves. Now we got about 2 minutes here, so I want to ask you all, as we go through that whole process of changing your mind shift, creating that black belt mind shift and expanding your belief system in your life, how are you going to give back this season or this year or give back in 2024? Because if you don't give back, you're not yet a leader. So let's make a plan to give back, because a lot of us, we plan for success, but actually we haven't planned for it yet. So if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail, right? Jim Rohn said that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I'm a big fan of John Maxwell too. Read the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. I think number 6 was people don't care what you know until they know that you care, right? And so I'm showing you by being here that I care. And there's something else that I want to share with you all too, and I'll put that in the chat, is that, and Amber, if it's okay, I can share a link to a workshop I'm doing on December 23rd. And it's my black belt mind shift to launch your 2024 success. In it, 3-hour workshop, we're going to go through, and we're going to, just like this, we're going to do a deep dive into all the different processes, all the different self-limiting beliefs that we've accumulated and we programmed our brain with. I thought for most of my life I was not worthy, I had no value, that I was not good enough. Until a couple of years ago, because I joined Toastmasters after that horrible incident at work, finally, one of my mentors, her name is Carol, and Carol had said, you know what, Raja, every time you come out and do a speech, you have all this tech and all these props and all these statistics, and you have a slideshow and this and that. I don't think you realize this, but you don't need all that. You are enough. And that was the first time in my life somebody ever said that to me. It shook me to my core. And that shifted my belief in myself. I'm like, oh my God, I never thought of that. Because for the longest time, I turned down so many good opportunities. This is another story. 3 months after my 18th birthday, I competed in a national East Coast qualifier for the Olympics. I beat out 400 other black belts, and I made the Olympic team. I didn't go because I thought no one's going to want someone that has a stutter on their team. I couldn't talk to the coaches or the teammates. I was so embarrassed. I gave up on that dream. I applied to a governor's school for music. My parents shot that down. They said, "Oh, what's all this nonsense? It's just singing and dancing. That's not good." I was pretty damn good at that time. I competed at the district and a regional, and I made a first chair all state. And then later on, I became a classically trained opera singer. Why? Because there was something missing in my life, because I missed those opportunities. Now, as a cancer research scientist for over 25 years, I've now made multi-billion-dollar drugs. But I was hiding in the lab instead of presenting my own work. I'm not afraid of that anymore. And that's what I want for you, is that right now, hope is a real thing. Hope is something that you can have. Hope is something that you have the opportunity to now change your life, because you go through these 5 steps from white belt, orange belt, green belt, blue belt to black belt, and you give back and become the leader that you were destined to be by going through that journey. I'm going to put my link in the chat. And normally when I do that workshop, that's a $97 workshop. But because you're part of Amber's group, I'm going to give you a coupon in there that's going to give you $70 off. And that only goes to the first 50 people. So it's going to be a well-attended event. It's always a highlight of the year because everybody gets a mind shift from that. And I hope you do attend it. It's going to be December 23rd in the afternoon, East Coast on Zoom. And thank you so much, Amber. This is Coach Raja. Believe it and become it.
Raja, I loved that message. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, friend, for sharing. That was beautiful. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to go back and go re-listen to it when I need to be reminded of what the steps are. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Very well
much,
done,
friend.
young man. Very well done. And it shows you and it shows us that if you have a inability, you learn to overcome it. And the same thing is with your fear of anything. If you don't want to take the step to overcome of it, you're going to live in a shell.
Yeah.
Rule it, don't let it rule you.
Yeah. Very good. Very, very well spoken.
You.
Nice
So,
job.
I love that. Thank you, guys.
So right now, like, I don't
What
know
was
about
that?
you, but I feel this like rush right now. I'm like full of adrenaline and like ready to fire. I'm like ready to go do a triathlon or something right now. And hope you all feel that way
I think
too.
that
Hopefully that goes over into your competition then, Raj.
Well, that's part of the reason why I also want. Amber wasn't sure if we could squeeze me in today. I said, you know what? Let me do it, because this will be a good warm up for me here anyway. And you feel the energy, and more importantly, you feel the emotion of going through my journey. And honestly, now I say that, if I can do it, you can do it. Because I definitely had, I think, I don't want to assume, but I would say I've had one major challenge I've lived with my whole life. And I've finally come to grips with it. I'm finally facing that fear. Now I'm going, and guess what? Am I a perfect speaker still? Nope. But it doesn't matter anymore. Because now when I go up on stage, I tell people, look, this is normal. Let's move on.
would you be willing to share your Cliff Notes or your fully presented worksheet there on the Facebook group? I'm driving and I couldn't take notes, but I'm gonna go back
Sure.
and listen to the live again. But if you could do the filled in version, so I don't have to sit here and guess what was an RR again, that would really help me out. And
Reliable
I
resource.
appreciate your
Yeah,
exactly. But I do appreciate your time, and I really thank you a lot. That it's been meaningful for me, probably everybody else too. But
Yeah. And
As
and
a
the other thing
side
is
note,
that,
Roger,
go ahead, Dave.
as a side note, Roger, before you go, what's your specialty in oncology?
Oh, heme-based cancer malignancies. So I worked on the Darzalex with Johnson & Johnson, and for about 8 years. And I was the lead. I was the operations lead, actually making the compounds from scratch. So I used to make the kits to test like multiple myeloma and in those trials for about 3 years. So I actually made the antibody conjugations, the fluorophores, the ferrofluids, and actually put the kit together. I QC tested it, validated it, and I shipped them out worldwide. And actually, I must have a sticker here. I might have a sticker. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, this is what I worked on, and Darzalex
Oh,
and daratumumab, and now Darzalex is once it got FDA approved, I can say I put my stamp on that, and now it's a $5.5 billion drug, and we've saved millions of lives through it. So I'm proud to say that I did that. And I didn't get to present anything on it, but you know,
And
that's what happens when
Raja,
you finally face that fear, is that, you know, good things can happen for you.
Thank you.
Any last minute
for
questions?
us non-medical types, can you tell us what? Yeah, Raja, for us non-medical types, can you tell us what that drug actually does, or what kind of cancer does it help?
Yes. So it's a target against multiple myeloma.
Okay.
Multiple myeloma. It's a plasma-based cancer. Basically, your plasma cells start to go bad, and then they start to expand beyond where they're supposed to be. And on those multiple myeloma cells, there's a receptor on the surface of them called CD38. And so we can specifically target that. So what I was doing was I was making a ferrofluid conjugated antibody. So basically, I was putting an iron particle along with a CD3 arm or a CD38 arm on those cells. And those antibodies could bind to those tumor cells, and then we could pull them out using very powerful rare earth magnets, and we could see them and count them under a system called an autoprep with a cell tracks analyzer, which was an automated fluorescent microscope in a box. And you'd put it on a slide, and it would scan 175 frames automatically for you, and you could count the number of tumor cells you actually have in your entire body, versus having an image where you say, well, all right, you got a lump in your lymph node, you got a lump in your lungs, you got a lump in your pancreas. But what does that mean? Are you actually reducing your circulating tumor cell count or not? So by doing these tests, you could actually find out, well, your count went from 20,000 cells, so that means per liter, or down to 5,000. And then once you got down to 5 or less, that's when you know that your treatments are actually working.
Thank you. That's way too much detail, but we do appreciate it.
I'm sorry. I'm a scientist, so like I got all this techno
babble.
Don't apologize. It's what
try to hold
you do,
it
and
back.
it's who you are.
I'm an engineer. You know, sometimes people just want to know what time it is, not how the clock was built.
Gotcha. So the answer is yes.
Yeah, got it.
Wow.
No, that's meaningful. I had a classmate of mine die from that particular cancer. So thanks for all that you do. Very inspirational.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And not only that, I think that people, when you go to, let me actually get this link here before I forget. When when people think about why we do things, I want to form my own biotech company, and I need about $10 million of like VC money to do so. And I want to do it because I want to make it a nonprofit, you know, and I want to make precision cell therapy products that can cure things like glioblastoma. I have two friends who recently died from a glioblastoma. That means a brain tumor. And it's very hard for things to cross the blood-brain barrier. But I have a process that I want to patent that is going to help alleviate that. And if I can reduce the cost right now to make a CAR T cell, that's a chimeric antigen receptor T cell, that's a white blood cell that's been kind of like trained like a samurai warrior in your body to specifically target those tumor cells. So if you have these like highly trained, highly specific T cells going after only the tumor cells and not anything else, it's an expensive process. Right now it costs about $700,000, $800,000 per patient to scale that up, and it takes a few months. If I can reduce that time to processing and reduce the cost down to $100K or less, then HMOs, then health insurance companies will pay for it, because then it'll be cheaper to cure the person rather than to pay for their treatments. Right?
I think
So I'm
Dr.
thinking about it
Raja
from
needs to
both
come back
ends.
and visit again.
I'm sorry?
I think Dr. Raja needs to come back and visit again with all this information, because we're at the 20 minutes to the hour, or almost quarter to the hour now. And I know
Yeah.
you said you had a competition and the rest of us got stuff too. So you got a lot of information. I'd love to hear more from you, but you got to come back again, man.
Certainly. All right. Well, listen, I want to say one thing. Amber's got a great book here, a great group here, and like I've enjoyed my time with all of you. So please do connect, and I'll put that link once I find it. Actually, it is here somewhere. But please do share it. And I know David and I were chatting recently about some other things. So if anybody ever needs help with other aspects of your business, if you want to learn about marketing or sales, or how to set up funnels, or how to set up an online course, or how to write your own book, I've done all of these things. So that's something that we can talk about, and I can help you, scale your belief system in yourself, because like I said, believe it and become it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very good.
Beautiful. I think that's a wrap,
I think
unless
it is
there's
too.
more.
Yep.
Good job. Good
Videos
job.
to make, kids to talk to. Lots of fun.
My business is knowing your business, so I can help share it with the world, friends.